be more aware of what is happening inside them in a corporeal fashion. And the proof will be this. You will have intuitive flashes, and you will get a checkup because of it. And there will be discoveries that you will catch so soon the doctors will say, "How did you know?" It's up to you to tell them. This is your innate starting to cross the bridge to the triad. The consciousness, not necessarily even the brain. The heart, the intuitive part of you, facilitated by the brain, will increase the bridge of knowledge between that which is conscious and that which is innate, allowing you, very slightly at first, to have intuition about what's going on in your body. Slowly, generation after generation will show that human awareness is increasing about what is going on inside. You can count on it. The second one of the innate series is what animals have had that you don't. You have called it instinct. You're going to have a series, I would say, a series of discoveries that will show for the first time that human babies are going to start receiving the instinct of their parents. That is to say, human beings are born and the first thing they do is walk. In the animal kingdom, it's right away. In the human kingdom, it's not. Because that which is instinct is not working. The baby comes in helpless instead of instinctual. Innate will start crossing the bridge of instinct. What the mother knows will be passed to the child. Now, we are not going to talk out of turn here. There are a series of channelings we have given for what is called the sisterhood. The sisterhood represents those in Lemuria in a certain time frame, what we will call the last Pachacudi of Lemuria. And those channelings are public and you can hear them. So what I'm going to tell you now is not confidential. Because if you pass from innate to that which is happening to you corporally as a human being when you're born, you're also going to pass something else. You are in the womb of the mother, sharing the life's bloodstream for all of those months. And part of what you will have, therefore, in this increase is the increase in the mother's consciousness passed to you. Whether it's male or female, the compassion of the female mother will play a more important part because of this instinct than ever before. And you will be born with a different attitude. My partner, I'm not really sure you said that correctly. The template is going to work so you're more compassionate. Could it be clearer? And it's going to happen because instinct of that which is your mother is going to be part of you. And your mother's instinct is compassion. She's a female. And she's going to carry a different kind of consciousness for this planet. And the planet's going to change because of it. Clear? Innate is responsible. There are so many. You're going to be more in touch with Akash. This is the third innate in the series. And the fourth attribute of the day. Perhaps it's even the fifth. Depends how you count these. You're going to be more aware of the Akash. Right now, the Akashic record in your DNA is responsible for irritating you. Because it's not working well. All you remember from your Akashic record are things that are dramatic. A past life drowning, a death, carries over the veil when you're born for only one reason, because it is the same level of consciousness you are. Human nature responds to death and drama, and that's what you get from the innate. Now you're about to grow up. And as this starts to grow, your Akash is going to pass the things that really, really made a difference. Some of the most beautiful experiences you've ever had, you'll dream about them. Oh, you're going to wake up and wish you hadn't, because they were so good. And you'll start remembering them. They will shape what you do next. You'll remember celebration and joy and good things that took place with you. All this is a change in the way the Akash responds to the template. A compassionate template for an evolved human being. I'll call this the last one. You're going to have a greater relationship with Source. How can I tell you this? Right now, as you sit in the chair listening to me, there's a relationship. And it's not really a believable one, is it? You report to a room, a man sits in a chair, his conscious leaves him, and in his body there's a beautiful entity as you feel it. I say it's a brother, sister, who comes and gives you instructions. That's your relationship. And for a few minutes you might enjoy actually the feeling that I give you when I hold out my hand to you and say, let's just join hands for a minute. You can talk to Creator, all right? That's going to change. Your relationship with that which is your higher self, directly relating to that which is the creative source, is something created by the template and the new innate. You're going to know who you are. And when you're born, and as you start to grow, there'll be no question that you're part of creation. How you treat it may be a mystery. What you do with it is your free choice, always free choice. But there'll come a day when you don't wonder if there's a God. You're going to wonder what part of it you are. And there are those who are so impatient because you've been there and done that and you know I'm right. And you can hardly wait. That's the new template. Oh, there's more. But for now, it's enough. This is what I want to give you. To some, it's far-fetched. For some, you'll have no proof of it while you're on earth. For some. Free choice and discernment. And how you react to this message literally will shape what you do next. How much power over your own life and your own body do you really think you have? The more you believe you can change it, the higher your DNA will cooperate with you and will do the things you tell it to. Dear ones, that's how much power you have. I am Kryon. I will not tell you things that are not so. I know it's a double negative. I will always tell you things that are so. But I want you to know there's no agenda except love. And that's a big one. For it then defines the compassion of God, which you are starting to assume. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. My partner, he steps aside. And so the information that is given from this point forward is not his. But he lets it flow. And as he does in his own way, he verifies that it's still an energy filled with the love of God and light and purity. And that's what I want to talk about, among other things. Perception, consciousness, light, dark. I'm looking at old souls in the room. That is, those who have been through many energies on the planet. And it includes some of you who were shamanic. And in an old energy, there was a demarcation of dark and light that was palatable. The light workers spent as much time fighting evil and the dark as you did generating the light. Even as little as 10 years ago, a healer who approached an individual had to shield themselves from the negativity that the individual carried. You live in the world, and you're human. And you leave this place and you rub shoulders with so many different kinds of consciousnesses and energies. And many of you still are absolutely convinced you must battle the dark side. And I have told you now for 3 years, it's different. And if you're going to line up and battle the dark in the same way you have in the last 20 years, you haven't got it yet. You don't understand yet. You're free of this. And you might say, well, they're still there. I want to tell you, if you are sensing negativity, it's your negativity that you're sensing. Because the light, right now, in this room, is washing it clean. Right now. Listen to me. Light is active. Dark is not. It's passive. That means when you turn on the light in a dark room, the dark is gone. And right now, in this room, even though there may be older negative influences and energies and thoughts, they are buried in light at the moment. At the moment. Lightworker, if you go out and you're a healer, I want you to know that your light is so strong, darkness doesn't have a chance. Not a chance. Wherever you walk, you turn on the light in the dark room. Do you realize darkness does not have an energy of its own? It must have an absence of light to win. I want you to think of that for a moment. And what is happening right now? Through your intent, you've turned on a light. You might be a negative person sitting there. You might not have been an old soul. I want to tell you that the light around you pushes that so far away. Right now is a good time for an awakening. That's what's happening. That's what is different. Light worker, you may have worked a certain way for years and years. You may be proud of the way you work, battling the dark in the way you do. And I am telling you, stop battling the dark and turn on your light. Because that is the only thing that's going to work. That is new. Another question has been asked about cellular evolvement, physicalness of the human body. All of the work that you have done today in this workshop, what does it do? What happens? Where is it going? Will you start feeling it physically? And the answer is, of course. If you're going to change your cellular structure with consciousness, what do you think? You think you'll just walk around the way you always did? Or would there be a shift and a change, literally, physically, in how you feel? And the answer is, of course there will be. As you work on yourselves, the first thing that you're going to feel is peace. Now, I happen to know that there are those in here who are not peaceful. Get up from your chair, you walk out there, you're not peaceful. There's always something you're battling. I know who is here. I know who is here. Listen to me. Aren't you tired of this? Or do you think it's your legacy? Or are you proud of it? It's old. It's not necessary. This is the new human being, the one who is going to hold the God inside and have a light that is so powerful that wherever they walk, the negativity will run the other way. It's new. Isn't it time to relax, to chase the fears away, and be peaceful in your life? to raise out of the chair and feel a different physical you. And with this comes better health. I want you to listen to me for a moment. There's some of you who wish you could change certain things within your bodies, certain chemistry. You've tried certain things, it doesn't help, doesn't work. Do you know what the catalyst is for everything you've ever wanted? Relax and be peaceful. Did you know that? Because then you give your body a chance to talk to you. For your metabolism to start shifting, for your cells to work in a way that's going to give you better health, catch fewer colds, have better energy, not worry. You walk around straighter because you're more part of the light of the planet. There's no more burden. I know who's here. But I want to tell you the big one. What you are doing with the light, by talking to your cells, by having these processes, whether it's body talk or tapping or decoding, any kind of processing you are doing, that is raising the vibration of your DNA and causing a better efficiency. Anything you're doing is changing something that we have never really talked about that much. What happens to that which is your cellular structure as it starts to increase its vibration? And the answer is, it vibrates higher. Now, you're not going to get some instrument in some hospital that's going to measure the vibration of your cells. Dear ones, this is metaphoric. At the same time, it's multidimensional. We have said this before. All of you have multidimensionality. You walk around with a multidimensional field, which is called the Merkaba. It's the vehicle you ride in, which is spiritual. It is not to be seen by any science yet. It's multidimensional. There is something we call the vibration of your cellular structure, which is also the percentage of which it is efficient. We have told you you're moving past a third, a 33%, into a 44% efficiency. It's going to change the children. It's going to change how you think, and it's going to do something else. I would like to tell you something. Maybe I've never discussed it this way before. Do you realize that disease is a low vibration? And what do you think it means when you raise your cellular vibration from an old one to a new one? Guess what? The old cannot attack the new. What you're doing is changing a cellular structure and avoiding and literally creating a new human structure that the old diseases cannot get to. Guess what the old diseases look for? Lower vibration, negativity, fear. Where are you? What are you afraid of? And I've just given you the secret for health. If you're going to stay in fear, it's almost like you're opening the door. As you start to ascend, you have heard the word before. You're ascending by making your cellular structure a higher vibration. When you do that, so many of the old things will drop away. Your body is smart, and it wants you to be balanced. Now, questions have been asked. How do I start this? What do I do? Intent. If you give intent verbally and you mean it. Because you cannot trick yourself if you mean it. There is a process we have discussed before. And this is a process that has no name. Your innate senses your intent and starts to shift your body even before you do. You've seen it for a long time and you don't know what it's called. Have any of you figured out how homeopathy works? I mean, the mechanics of it. When you give your body an intent from a small tincture, a chemical which you may ingest that is too small for the body to have any kind of an allopathic reaction, way too small, the body sees the intent of the tincture and begins to heal itself because you just sent it a signal. This is a smart body. That's how it works. And it does work. Now think of doing the same thing with consciousness. You're going to give your body now a tincture of intent. Here is what I want. I am done worrying. I am done being fearful of everything around me. I am done with drama. I am done with gossip. I am done with bad health. And your body sees the reality of the tincture of truth. And it starts to correct itself even before you give affirmations. That's help. You're in a new age, not an old age that just changed a little. You're in a new age. And this age carries with it new processes that actually may be controversial to the old processes. And there will be those who grew up in the new age who will see this and go, it can't be right, and not follow along. Some of them are dying early because of this. They just can't go with it. They see it coming. Some readers have actually stopped reading because the new energy was a little too much for them and they didn't understand the rules. They didn't think they could do it. Some healers have stopped healing. This is how new it is. It's almost like you recalibrated everything you knew about dark and light. And now you're starting again. And light is more powerful. It's not just more powerful. It's winning. The ancients saw it. This is not a Kryon message, dear humanity. The ancients saw it coming. The calendars of the Maya saw it coming. The indigenous of the earth saw it coming. And they called it for what it was. A new consciousness of humanity. We're excited for you. Some will accept it and some will not. That's how new it is. Dear ones, what are you going to do? You sit all day through something like this. Did you believe it? Did you participate? Or were you just having fun? Maybe you were just interested. Or is it going to change your life? And I will tell you, the change your life part is not that hard. Do you have the courage to drop what you think you knew and take a look at something new? Do you? Old souls, some of you are stuck. You've been battling this stuff so long that no matter what I say or no matter what you see, you're going to continue battling. And I want to tell you, the army has changed. The tools have changed. And light is going to win. Going to generate light, or are you going to continue doing it the old way? You can look for new diets, dear ones, to change your body, or you're going to change your metabolism, which then will give you the new diet. This is a change in everything. You want to have more energy in your life? Stop being afraid. It couldn't be simpler. And yet, it's difficult because some of these things are etched into you in a way that even right now you may be objecting to. In 2013, we told you of the shift. We said it's such a great shift that year would not even be counted as a year. Only a change, a time of shift, change, and that would affect some of yours health. And it did. It did. Because this is the kind of thing that the body has to readjust to and get ready for. It's profound. It's new. It's real. What are you going to do with it? This is the message of Kryon. It's the reason I came. To show a love and a light to you, to the God source, and make you understand that it's yours. And that you don't have to work for it because it lives in you. All you have to do is uncover it, believe it, and drop the old stuff. Where are you in that plan at the moment? Wherever you are, there's an outstretched hand of God, light, that wants to take yours and change everything. That's the promise of a new age. Go from this place not confused, but enlightened, aware, and ready to shift. I am crying in love with humanity, and for good reason. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I want to give you some information today about something that all of you have and that's beginning to change. Through all of the years of the information, of the channeling, of talking about what is coming and how it will affect you, what you can do, the good news of it all, it continues. We have discussed with you that which is your innate. And there are some in the room or listening who can't really identify what the word really means. What is innate? I think it stemmed from the idea that innately you ought to be able to do certain things, but you can't. So innate has been the name given for your smart body. So the idea is that there is you, and then there is the you within you, which is smarter than you are. It's called innate, and you access it through many processes through the years. One, which is most popular, is kinesiology, called muscle testing. There are others which literally interview the innate. Now the innate, the smart body, we have told you is connected to things within you and outside you that are grand. It is not a brain function at all, and yet the brain must be involved, as it always is. But it involves the pineal, it involves the heart, the triad, The innate is in contact more than you are with your higher self and your Akashic record. That's what makes the innate so smart. You might say it's the instinct that humans don't have that animals do. That is innate. The things that innate is responsible for is grand and great, and the list would surprise you. And that is why there is so much involved today with those and processes to get in touch with innate. The thought that inside you is a smart body that knows that which you don't. Imagine having to ask your body, what are you allergic to? Shouldn't you know that? So you muscle test to find out. That is how far removed you are at this point, human being, from being able to discuss back and forth with the innate. And if you could, what would be the language that you would have from you to the smart body? Let us say you could open a door to it. What would be the language? What would it feel like? I will tell you, dear ones, it is called intuition. Let me paint a picture for you. The child is sitting there and is about to touch the stove. Isn't it interesting that the child even wants to touch the stove? The child is on the precipice of a cliff and is about to walk off until it's grabbed by the adult. An animal would never do that. An animal would know about heights and gravity, and it comes with the territory of life with an animal. An animal would not touch a hot stove, even if it didn't know it was a stove. It senses the heat, it tells them to stay away, but not the human baby. It comes in completely clueless of some of the things that innate would give it if it was in touch with it. So the child touches the stove. There's a small burn on the finger. And inside the child's brain, there is activity that is forever. Synapse, neurons, complex growth that occurs that will etch into the child's brain, don't touch a stove. And it's going to be there all its life. That's profound if you think about it. One action of burning your finger will last forever in your lifetime. Then the child passes on, comes back, and wants to touch the stove. There is a disconnect, dear ones, in the human being of what is called instinct in the animal world. You are not receiving the things that you learned in the past life. This is one of the arguments that science would use for the non-existence of past lives. If you had a past life, you should know better, they would say. What they're not understanding at this point is that in the old energy, the human being is not fully functional. We've told you this before. You're operating at approximately 35%. It's starting to grow. But on a scale of 1 to 100, you're only a third of the way there. When it comes to wisdom and balance, intelligence, intellect, there are intellectuals who will argue, and they will say, we can think of anything. I am telling you, no, you can't. You don't know what you don't know. An intellectual will hit the ceiling with what it can think about until this planet starts to grow up. The consciousness is starting to shift and change, and one of the things you're going to look forward to, dear ones. We have talked about before Akashic remembrance. But more than that, let's talk about how innate is going to be inherited through your Akash. I'm talking about two segments now. One is new children being born on the planet, and the other is what old souls can do on the planet right now if they get out of their box of belief that says they can't. Akashic inheritance, we've used the words before, Akashic remembrance, but you should know the one thing that starts to happen with children, with you, all of you listening, as you start to evolve on this planet, as you are, you're going to receive more intuition. In other words, that language to the innate is going to increase. The smart body is going to start releasing information. The child will not touch the stove. The child will not go near the edge of the cliff. This is important because you're going to start seeing it and you're going to wonder how they knew. I want to take you on a journey. It is the human being today represented, as we often have metaphorically, by a house. You live in this house, human being, and it's beautiful. You make it what you wish. Lovely artwork is on the walls. It's elegant. It's soft. It's where you may have an altar. It may be where you meditate. It's you. It's beautiful. It's where you sleep and where you eat. But at the center of this house, that's always been hidden from you, the core is a room. And in that room is the real human being, the smart one, the innate. And what you do is to live all around the innate. And in that center room, you might say, well, there's got to be some doors into the center of that area. There are. And you start using them. But they don't open outward. You can't pull them towards you. They have to be opened by the smart body within. And a few of them aren't doors at all. They're little holes in the wall. One of them is called kinesiology. You can find certain things out by poking a stick through the hole. And if the stick moves a certain way, you know certain things. All of that intelligence, balance, wisdom of the ages is in that room, and you're poking it with a stick. I want to tell you something. There are big doors to that room that will open, and I want to give you the labels of the doors, because the label of the door will tell you exactly why they're not opening. Let's go to the door called worry. You intellectualize things. You get a shell of worry going in the human body. Your innate will never give you intuition because it blocks it. Worry blocks intuition. Worry blocks intuition. Go to another door. It's called anxiety. It's a relative of worry. Anxiety blocks intuition. Go to another door. Fear. Fear blocks intuition. Do you want to know why the animals can be born on the field and up and running with the herd in hours? You want to know why? They don't have those things. They don't intellectualize. They don't have worry and anxiety. The fear they have is only related to survival. In other words, if an animal had any kind of smart innate, and it does for itself, it's there when it's born. And yours is missing. Because you're so smart. You learn quickly. what to worry about, what to be guilty about, and all of the blockades that keep that beautiful, inside, smart body, innate, captured and trapped. Think about this. The innate is connected to the higher self, to the pineal. It knows so much. It has all of your Akash. It has all of the wisdom. It's you. It's the core you. It's there. Every single human has it. And you got to poke it with a stick. I want to present the solutions to opening the doors that will let innate get back to you through intuition. Increasing your intuition tenfold so you start understanding what intuition is telling you, where you can expect it, stand by, breathe while it talks to you. Understand it's a power and not a fleeting experience that you wondered what you heard. I want you to take out your eraser and erase the words on the doors. And I want you to smile while you erase worry and anxiety and fear. And suddenly the doors have no labels at all, and you will feel them suddenly start to be opened from the inside. The innate is realizing there's no more blockade. And you will start to be at peace. It is the peaceful human being that has the greatest intuition of all. It is the human who understands who they are, so they don't have to worry. That they understand there is the Creator inside, whatever that means to you. You're part of the system. You belong here. You're not an accident. You start to understand that and feel at peace with it, even smiling with it. And here it comes. The intuition you've been asking for. Turn right, turn left, do this, do that. This is bad for you. This is good for you. This is interrupting you. Change your attitude. Change your food. Change your path. Change your family. That is the intuition that you have prayed for, that every human being wants to hear, the smart body that is connected to all that is. You came in with it. Did you ever wonder why humans don't have the instinctual power that animals do? I just gave you the answer. Too much intellect. Too many things to figure out, to worry about, to analyze. The example, we might have given it 50 times so far. When you leave the room, you'll go to your car. You'll enter the car and start the engine, and you'll drive away. But let me tell you, if this was an example of what you do with your own body, you'd get in your car and you'd have to read the manual of how the engine worked before you stepped on the gas. You want to intellectualize every single motion of the pistons involved. You want to know the pressure ratios and the fluid mechanics of the transmission. And that's what you do with your own lives. You intellectualize yourselves to the degree that innate is trapped. Innate is your best friend. Innate wants to be part of this new age. Dear ones, children are going to be born with greater intuitive power. And that is why they are going to upset the apple cart and the systems, even more than they are now. For that intuition will create wiser decisions than when they were here last. But the old soul, you can do it while you're here. How many of you will drop the box of belief that says you can't? You have to hang on to this. You have to analyze this. You have to know about this. Instead of relaxing, taking a deep breath, and letting those doors fly open. That's what's coming. There'll be different success rates. Some of you will feel it and understand that it works, and then it won't. Because you keep shutting the doors. There's something new to worry about. In other words, this is something you're going to learn. It's a process of peace. Dear ones, this is magnificent information for an evolving human race. Magnificent to know that the next time around you won't have to work so hard, the intuition will be there. But also while you're here, it's available. These are solutions for you. You deserve them. It's time. No accident that you're here, and it's going to solve some of the problems you came in with. And that is the message of the day. Let the innate start to be that which you trust more than anything else. That which is connected to your heart, to your pineal, to your brain, in a balanced way that knows the one soul. You. Go from this place differently than you came. In love. And so it is.
Hello, I'm Lee Carroll.
As we prepare to go into a channel with Lee, let us step our intellect aside, put it in the back seat, and instead connect in to your heart. You may even place your hand on your heart so you connect in with the innate wisdom and intelligence of your heart. Ask your heart's wisdom to come closer into your triad of your brain, pineal, and heart. And with that connection, that is where you receive intuitive guidance. And that is where you can discern what's coming in from your intuition and receive whatever message you need to receive. And let us together create a collective group where we will hear a message from Kryon that's addressing this particular collective group of souls that are now gathered. Kryon doesn't deliver messages just in the air to no one. Kryon delivers messages to the collective group that is gathered to listen and hear. That is how special you are, individually and collectively, as we come together in a soup of oneness to receive this message.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I will say yet again, and many times I will repeat, Spirit is not in a vacuum. This is probably the best news I could ever say to those of you who are here. For sometimes the training says differently, that God is on a pedestal, and that God does not really know what is going on necessarily in the minutiae of your life. It is just the opposite, dear ones. On the other side of the veil, that creative source knows you, knows your name. It's even been said in certain scriptures that Spirit knows every hair on your head. That is a metaphor that just says you are known by God, not just your name, but as perhaps you would know your children. A child of God, some have said, it is like that. That is the love that is here for you. A little later, when we get into that which is the circle of 12, and we walk you yet again through that meditation and through all of the metaphors and guide you into another kind of reality, this is what we teach. It is a time to understand the closeness you have to Spirit, closer than you thought. Healing is the subject, and we have told you that healing can be many things. Indeed, you don't have to be diseased to sit in these places and ask for healing. The kinds of healing that we speak of go far, far beyond even the corporeal. The healing of memories, the healing of anxiety, fear. All of these things are dysfunctions that you might have as you would come here to this safe place and want to just sit with us for a while. And indeed, we see you there. It is an interesting kind of puzzle that I will say to you again. I know what's happening, and the puzzle that is interesting to you is that the areas of energy that we speak about are multi-dimensional areas. They are not that which you have in 3D. Distance does not matter. Time doesn't matter. I speak now perhaps to those who might be listening later. And to those I say, it is no different now to later. For I know who's listening later. This is the beauty of a God that can see all and know all. I am part of that collective, dear ones, from the other side of the veil. I have never been human. My partner knows this and sees things, even as I speak to him, that you don't get to see. Sometimes there's a majesty that he can't even describe. That the love that we have for you, it goes beyond time. So when you are listening to this now, and that is you call live, it may be one thing. You may listen to it again. Others may come and listen to it at another time or place. The recording, that is the sound, may be that which someone is listening to a year from now. But I'm speaking to you now. The now is therefore defined as you and I looking at each other right now. Now, no matter when your clock says now is. Did you get that? This is the beauty of a multidimensional creative source, known by God no matter what time it is in your life or whenever you receive the message. Healing, dear ones, is very similar to this. And it's simply the most unsimple thing you can imagine. It's complex. Too complex even for this discussion right now. Way too complex. But I will give a hint of what I want to tell you here. There are puzzles in healing, are there not? Let me speak to the healer who is here, listening, watching. Isn't it interesting that you can develop a very powerful protocol that is a healing protocol? One that you have used and developed and seen happen. You've seen miracles, either in your chairs or on your tables or even long distance, haven't you? You've seen those who have come to receive certain kinds of things from you, and you actually have delivered that with the modalities that you've had, that you've intuited, that you're using. That is what healers do. And isn't it interesting that even though you will do the same kinds of things to every single human being as they need them, as you intuit them, some of them will instantly heal and some of them will never heal. You know I'm right. Isn't it interesting that there's such a variety of differences even within your own patients? How does that work? Well, every single healer knows this because they've seen it over and over. And if they are wise, and most are, they will ask their patients or their friends or whoever it is that they're working with to first give permission to heal. In other words, there is something there, dear ones, that requires you give either intent or awareness to the healing that is going to occur. This is why, dear ones, you can pray and pray and pray and pray for an individual or a group or whatever, and there's no change. But if that individual or group knows that you are praying for them, or believes that prayer answers are there, and believes that the healing modality really does work, they have given permission and cognized that which can occur. And then the healing starts. And sometimes it's a low-level healing, and they come back and get more and more. Sometimes it's spontaneous remission. But it takes at least the awareness that you're doing it with them for a full event of healing to happen. This also explains why some will say to you, my brother is in trouble. My brother does not believe in prayer. My brother doesn't believe in any of these things. My brother is in trouble. Can I heal him? And the answer is often, you can try if you wish, but you're going to have to get your brother's awareness on board in order to have the connection that is needed. You might even say, and you'd be accurate, again, there is a key and a lock that has to be inserted and turned. And that key is that the one who is being healed has to want it, understand that you are indeed attempting it, even though they don't understand the modality. There has to be some belief. Prayer works so well, especially when those who are being prayed for stop for a moment, perhaps even at a certain hour, and say, I receive the prayers that you have. I believe they're powerful, and I'm willing to be healed. And it can be across the world. It can be on the telephone. It can be just not on the telephone or anything. You can just have an agreement that at a certain time, even if it's not a time of day, it can be a specific day where you say, I'm aware that this day, that there are those praying for me, and I'm going to sit and receive those prayers. Do you see this connection? It's more than just an awareness. It's really cognizing that you can receive healing. That is the difference. Now, back to the healer who has no result, perhaps on the table, even though it appears their patient gave permission, they really have not. They really haven't. At some level, they have a disbelief that keeps that out. The key never gets into the lock. Even though they are saying things, it doesn't fit. This is what makes it complex. How can you get past this? How can you say yes? How is it possible that you can peel that onion of disbelief and be in a place where you're so open that prayer is going to work instantly? What about you with you? What about your ability to go to a place where there is no healer and have that same energy come at you and work? Welcome to the Circle of 12. This is what we're doing. The key goes in the lock when you start to cross that bridge that I'm going to tell you about in just a little while, that we cross every single time. Complex it is, healing is this way. And perhaps the more that you hear and the more you're able to do with it, the easier it'll be to cognize the fact that you can do anything. Anything. And hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Well, staying on track, it's about time now to have a brief meditation and a channel from Kryon. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes and release all the tension from your body. Allow yourself to soften, all the muscles softening, becoming so soft. And feel how you are supported wherever you are sitting or standing, or perhaps even lying down. You are being supported. It is the earth that carries us, that supports us. And yet there is an entire entourage of multi-dimensional beings that are supporting us. They are here for us. And as part of that support for us here in this journey, we also have beautiful, loving messages that are delivered through Lee, coming to us from an entourage called Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I greet the members, all of you, and ask you this: is this something you look forward to? I would hope the answer would be yes, because you're here on purpose to watch this. Have you ever wondered if those on the other side of the veil feel the same? I will tell you this. There are those who stand in line on the other side of the veil, figuratively, to be here with you now. The channeling is like an opening in the veil. Some of you are now realizing it's an opening where love can pour through. Because you are receptive to it, because you are here, because you are watching and listening. There will be those later who will also hear this who are not part of the membership or the Circle of 12. As we have said before, all of the channelings will become available and are available for everyone on the planet. But I want to talk to those of you who are part of the circle and are here for this private time and for the meditation to come. We look forward to this. It's a different perceptive feeling, a perception that you might not have had before. That literally, we are here to see you. This has been the experience of my partner for all of the channelings he has ever done. The long ones and the short ones. That when he sits in the chair and the greetings begin, he feels the sense of relief and release, that the door is open between us, you and I, between the worlds, so that the love will pour in, the instructions, the wisdom that you're allowing at this time. We've been talking about the 4 faces of fear. I have the third one for you. They're all slightly different, and they all emanate from different places. We've told you also, for those of you who have probably just listening to this one, that these fear faces stop healing. This is a healing program. We speak about your willingness to see and hear, absorb, and cognize what the healers are telling you. It's a tough one if you're always afraid. There are many who would tune into this program or become part of the series as members because they're trying to eliminate fear. That is the program, dear ones, and you're welcome to be here. If that is how you feel, you're not alone. This is something that we want to share with you. The solutions to getting out of fear. Almost all the time, the solution is to get out of fear is recognizing what they are. The reasons for them often dismiss them. It's almost like finding something that you didn't understand, and finally the light is turned on when you say, "Oh, is that all it is? I thought there was more to be afraid of." That is a dismissal then of that particular fear. once you shine light on what it is you're afraid of, then it's far easier to make up your mind whether to continue to be afraid. Mark this moment, because there are those who say you shouldn't be afraid, and they'll tell you why. It doesn't do any good. It just doesn't, and you know it doesn't. If you're sitting there and you're apprehensive about something and someone comes to you and say, don't be afraid. Look, I'm not afraid. That doesn't help. The truth is this. You must cognize it for yourself. Why it's there? Is it something you should be afraid of? Or, as they say, is it a paper tiger? Is it something that, oh, I understand? So it's you seeing what's there with your mind, with your perception, that starts to dismiss these things. The third set of fears we're going to call the ones you create in real time. Now, when I say you create them, you don't instigate them. You cognize things as fearful, and you write your own program. So these would be fears that are written not in the past, not from the survival, not from anything but your life after you get here. What would they be? They would represent most of the fears you have. The society you live in is one society that has parameters and rules, and you may fear that you're not going to make it in that society based upon what people tell you. Many of these kinds of fears, these real-time fears, that is, the ones that you put on yourself while you're here, are self-imposed. You decide that it's a fearful thing. Let me review with you something. How do you find out what's happening around you? What is the method you have to find out what is going on in your city, in your neighborhood, in your country? And the answer is the news. This is fear number one that you place upon yourself. You watch the news. You listen to the news. You read the news. You are aware, are you not, in this culture, in this day and age, at this moment, the news is entertainment. And they must present something to you that you will watch, because the commercials that they show between the watching pays their salaries. Therefore, they will put the things that are most attractive to humans, which is the things that are dark. There may be a dark thing that happens on the planet. There always are those things, but they will not then give you any of the good parts. And there are always good parts. What's happening regarding a situation? The virus is a good example. We've said this before. It is not controversial because many are starting to see it and tune out of the news, not watching it anymore. They're showing you the infection rate, the death rate, and seldom, if ever, do they talk about the heroes, the recovered rate. And so they paint a picture that frightens you. And they go on to the next thing, and it frightens you. And if they've done their job well, they'll frighten you a lot. So you'll come back and watch some other frightening things. What's the solution to that? That is something that is self-made. You choose to tune in, knowing these things, and they go into your psyche, and they stay there. We've told you before, there's no delete key. We've told those who want to be released from this, but also want to know what's happening, to be selective in your news, how you get it. Whether you would get it perhaps in places you trust, and read it instead of having it presented as an entertainment program visually. And that helps a lot of people. There are those who simply have stopped watching it, or will have a news day once a week. They'll catch up in their own way of what they should know, and it has caused so much more peace. How many of you fear the virus? The virus is not something to be feared, dear ones. It's something to be understood. How many of you done research around the virus instead of simply listening to the mandates in the news? There is a big difference. One will create fear. One creates understanding. When you say, oh, here's what I'm doing. Here's how long. Here are the expectations. And that, my dear human being, creates peace over something that others are fearing. It's not the plague. There are so many things that you have been told that literally create fear without understanding and without knowledge. This is controversial. What do your spiritual leaders tell you? Are you doomed? Were you born dirty? Were you really born dirty? Is it possible that the loving God that loves you beyond measure, that you were created in the image of the Creator, is it possible that that Creator is watching you carefully so that if you don't behave, that same Creator can then take your soul and torture it forever after you're dead? Burn you alive every single day, perhaps tear your skin off. And you say, well, Kryon, where did you get those visualizations? I got those visualizations from my partner, who saw them painted clearly on the walls of churches inside. Torture. How does that feel to place that upon yourself, to believe it, and to carry it around? You're doomed. These are the kinds of fears we are inviting you to understand and undo and rewrite. And you can. Almost everything you're afraid of, at some point where you can sit down and look at them, is rewritable by understanding, perhaps by affirmations to undo something that is put into your subconscious. All of them are rewritable. And the biggest ones that you have on this planet are the ones you put upon yourself, because either you've done it yourself or others are helping you to fear. How many of you have been told this is going to happen, that's going to happen, beware of this, beware of that? There are things coming that people have said, well, watch out for that when it gets here. Is that your life? Are you afraid of the future? Are you afraid of your culture? That is to say, you won't do this right or that right, or you don't know how long your job is going to last. Do you understand? All of these things are emotions that you create by yourself. Now, we've told you this before. You live in an energy that supports these dark kinds of energies at this point. They won't always. This is what's clearing on the planet. There'll come a time when fear will not be the number one energy that captures you. That's coming. But right now, to rewrite these things and understand them starts to dismiss them. And you find protocols for yourself so that when you hear somebody tell you something, you don't simply cognize it and say, yes, you're right. You start to analyze it and you say, I wonder if that's so. Here's the big one before we close. Made in the image of the Creator, filled with love and compassion, those are the tools. That's who you are. That's who you are. You are not here as a victim. You are not here to fear. You're here to clear that board with peace and safety and know you're smart enough to see the difference between that which is not so and that which is. And what is so is the fact that you have the right, the lineage, the tools, and all of those things to clear it all, to rewrite it and move into a future that you create, which is safe because of your magnificence. Did you get that? You're not a victim of things to come. You control it all by having intuition of where to go and what to do.
We have taught these things to you over and over and over. I want you to sit tall and understand truly what you can do. It's a safe place where you are. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. In this room, there is an energy that has been set carefully. Before you ever arrived, we knew you were coming. We've spoken of things that are hard to imagine to any human being who even begins to think in a linear fashion. And I want to talk a little bit more about that today. This is the final meeting, and the energy has been set. How many souls are here? What is the definition of soul? Do angels have souls? All of these could be answered in one concept. Everything from God, anything from the creative source that has sentience, intelligence, is part of one soul group. And the soul group is that which is the creative source of God. Have you ever thought of how big God is? That which you call the creative source, that which created the universe, so vast that a human can't really comprehend it, knows your name. This source is so many and yet one. And even that is so difficult for any human to conceptualize. How can it be so big yet so small? How can it be so big as to create the universe, so small as to live in your heart? How can it be so many when there's really only one consciousness of love that you feel? It seems to be a dichotomy, but only when you begin to analyze it from what you think you know. You start to look at the whole idea of a soul. It's been mentioned even this day. So I'd like to expand on it only briefly and in a way that's covered and saturated with love. This God that you think is so big, it could not even ever know you, is so small that God knows every single puzzle that you can have right now as you sit in the chairs or listen to this channel. What kind of consciousness could be in so many places at once? Know so much. Does it ever occur to you that sometimes the synchronicities that happen are because there are so many of it, called God, that work together for all of you? Is it possible that so many things that you have asked for and desire are actually synchronicities of the coherence of the many, creating the synchronicities for all of you? Could it be that there is a circle of love, of compassion, something that you haven't really thought of before, that is beyond the one and really is for all of you? Kryon, you talk in circles. How can I explain this so that it makes so much sense to you? So let me start with the one, you. There is one soul, you think. It has your name. And this one soul is the same one that has been with you every single lifetime. So over and over and over, there is the one. And yet we've all told so many things about souls. When I say we all have told, I mean the ones who channel for you and with you. The teachers all have told you that there is so much more than the one in your soul. Today my partner asked the question, if you have a higher self, is that a separate soul? And you would say, no, it's part of my soul. And yet the higher self is also present on the other side of the veil. So how can it be in two places, in two-dimensional realities at the same time? And the answer is that your higher self then becomes a bridge. So you have the part of your soul which is corporeal and also innate and also etheric, that invades, if you want to use that term, your body. It invades it because it literally wants to conquer every single cell with the beauty of God, if you let it. Every single human, however, has free choice, a duality that then works between the worlds of dark and light. That is the soul that you know, the one that is inside you, but also the one that is higher, is connected to God. That means that there is a group going on even within you. We'll call it a soul group. Now this soul group is then connected to a bigger group, which is on the other side of the veil, which you call God. Now we have said that the God that you then think of is trillions strong. Trillions of what? Well, it would be parts of God that connect to your soul. One consciousness broken into trillions of parts that all know one another, that work together. And what are those trillions of parts doing? Well, some of them are connected to other higher selves in the room, on the planet, on other planets. Now, where am I going with this? I would like to bring up a concept for the first time, and we're going to call it soul coherence. What if it was possible for your soul and your higher self, all of the connections to the other side of the veil, to become coherent? If you could draw a line of energy that would be through you and your compassion and your intent, through your higher self, all the way to the other side of the veil, perhaps touching another higher self of another soul, coming right back into their body, in this room, on the other side of the planet, or to even other planets that had humans like you. What would then happen if here in this room you decided to connect the coherence between humans? I'll tell you something. If you do that, you've created a circle. You don't even have to touch each other, because the physics of consciousness is the touchy part. And when that happens, you have something which completes the circle of soul coherence, which allows things that you didn't expect. That's the answer to synchronicities that happen, that you cannot plan, but that happen because you intend them. There's soul coherence between groups of individuals and individuals. creating what can only be called magic, because things happen that in reality shouldn't happen. Kryon, what are you talking about? I'm talking about something bigger than you know. I'm talking outside of your reality. I'm talking about master numbers that have not yet been defined or completed. I'm talking about graduate consciousness that someday will know all about the physics of soul coherence and will understand for the first time that you are connected to the creative source of everything. It will blur the line between human and sacred. It will start to explain the unexplainable. And in that, there will be an understanding of the compassion of God being the compassion of humanity. And how the circle is connected in such a way that it runs through your Akash. It runs through the things that are mysterious. And they all start snapping into place, into a coherence that will make total sense. Not now, maybe, but I gave you a glimpse into what is coming. When you leave this place, many of you will think to yourselves, how can I remember all that has been talked about, all that has been presented and said? I resounded to so much of it, but when I leave the room, somehow it seems to evaporate into that which I should remember, but I don't. So I'll give you the secret of soul coherence. There were no secrets given today. All the things that were given were known. And that doesn't then evaporate into the ethers. Where did it come from? It came from the mind of God. All of it delivered to each speaker, each channeler. In a linear fashion, it was given to you to absorb. But it started with the mind of God. And if you believe in soul coherence, that still exists. All the information, everything that was discussed, couched in something called the compassion of God. When you leave here, all you have to do is rekindle that compassion. Call upon it if you wish. The coherence that is yours through your higher self into that which is on the other side of the veil, which is a complete mystery, but beautiful. You can feel it. It has all the information that was presented today exactly as it was presented. That's where it came from. And little by little, it comes right back to you. You don't have to use your brain to remember. You have to use all that is not your brain. The pineal, the intuition, the beauty, the compassion. Call it whatever you want to. Kindle that love connection with the creative source, and all these things will come back to you. Intent, if you wish. Dear Spirit, give me the things that were presented today that I resounded with as I need them. Let me resound with them as I walk day by day, because I'm connected to where they came from. I have soul coherence, you might think and say, and you'd be right. You ever wonder if two people can have what almost is one soul? They don't. They have their own pieces, and yet some of them can be so connected that they call themselves soulmates. And they don't have to be different genders. All they have to have is compassion, one for another, in any situation that would lead them to soul coherence.
And that, my good friends, my dearest human soul friends, is the answer to a planet without war. Soul coherence starts to be something you expect from country to country, and the individuals in those countries feeling the compassion for one another, literally peering into each other's souls in a way that's beyond anything you can imagine today. It gives them something that they never have seen on this planet, where no human being would ever consider hurting another, because you realize you're one. It's coming. But for now, when you leave, I want you to call upon it. Call upon it for what resounded to you. One of the things that we said over and over is that you can climb into the closet and shut the door and pretend you're alone. And there'll be trillions of us in there with you. You can't get away from the love of God.